hear you.
Technical difficulties, but we're good.
I hear you so much better now. Cool.
Okay, yeah.
How do I pronounce your last name?
Salaya, Salaya. So it's a Mexican, I think it's a Mexican last name, but it's Salaya.
I was going to ask you. I never heard of that in the Mexican culture.
Yeah, it's I think it is, but I have a theory that it might be like Asian or something because half of my family look super Asian. They look Filipino.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, I'm like, maybe like it's like some Asian in there or something, but
Yeah, maybe like
we'll see. I've never heard it either in the Mexican culture. So
you definitely look like you have some Latina in you for sure, but it's like you got something going on there. Right?
yeah, people, I surprisingly every time I go get my nails done at the Asian salons, all the Filipino ladies and the Asian ladies, they always ask if I'm Filipino, and it's so crazy to me because I don't see it at all, like at all. But I have had a few people who ask if I'm like Filipino, and I'm like, no, like I don't know, not that I know of, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for joining, Martha. I am from the Houston area, and the Houston community is like exploding when it comes to fitness, the health and wellness community. And I mostly spend a lot of time talking about like environmental pollution, like chemical toxins, and like how to keep environmental toxins out of your body. I talk to a lot of researchers and stuff, but this, like, I feel like the Houston community, there's some awesome people. So I've reached out to a couple of them, and you're one of the first people that I just looked up, like Houston fitness influencers, and you were one of the first people.
Oh wow!
And ironically enough, I was telling you right when we joined the call, Juan, a good friend of mine, Juan Nava, him and his wife own BC and Supplements. Have you heard of that?
Oh, okay. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so they're locally from Houston too, and he said he knew of you, or maybe knew some friends of you, or y'all like ran in similar packs or whatever. So yeah, small world.
Yeah. Especially Houston. Yeah, I feel like Houston is becoming the new mecca of fitness. I think it used to be LA before, and then everyone's just flocking over to Houston, and the fitness scene is so huge here. So I feel like everyone kind of knows each other.
Yeah, why is that? Is it because Alpha Land? Did Alpha Land start that trend?
Yeah, I think it has to do with Alpha Land. It being based here in Houston, of course. And I think another thing that has to do with it is like real estate. It's so like compared to LA, it's so cheap just to live in Texas. So I think that's also a plus for a lot of people that like a lot of fitness people that I know want to move to where the community is growing and it's bigger. Everyone is in Houston now, basically in Texas. And so I think you add the fact that it's cheaper to live in Houston or in Texas in general. And I think that kind of attracts everyone even more. So yeah.
The demographics are interesting. I'm originally from Dripping Springs, which is like right outside of Austin. And it's the demographics are drastically different. Like in Austin, Dripping, you got like the corporate, like tech environment that's, the corporate computer people. And then Houston, it's just like jacked girls, like fitness dudes, like it's like totally different, and it's interesting how it works out that way.
Yeah, the scenes are completely different for sure. So it's like two different, and Houston is so diverse. There's all types of people, like everywhere you go. So I think that's also is a plus.
Are you originally from the Houston area?
No, so I'm actually from the Valley. It's 5 hours down south of Houston. So it's like the tip of like Texas, the like border basically. So that's where I grew up. It's heavy Hispanic culture. I mean, it's right by the border, so nothing but Hispanics, Mexicans. So that's where I grew up. I moved out of the Valley in about 2020, and then but I grew up there, and I have a special place in my heart for back home. But it's a very small town, but the people are very nice, and the Mexican food is the best there because the roots. But yeah, I miss home sometimes.
Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah, Spanish was my first language, and then I learned English at school. My mom put me in like in English classes. So I was born in Mexico. I was brought over to the States when I was 3 or 4, and then my mom enrolled me in school and made sure I knew like the proper English. But Spanish has always been my first language.
Interesting. You don't have any type of like
Mhm.
slang, or I can't pick it up. Like it sounds like your first language was English.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a funny story. So back in elementary, my accent was like a lot like thicker,
Mm.
and I had a teacher in elementary, and then I ran into her years later when I was like a junior in high school, and the first thing she said, "Oh my God, your accent is completely gone. Like you can't even tell." And I remember I was so happy because in school, obviously, kids to make fun of you if you say things a little bit different. So when she said that to me, I was very happy. I was like, I sound American, but no, I like I made it a thing to make sure I didn't have an accent. Like for the longest time when I was younger, because of like kids were mean. But then now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't like lose my accent, but
Yeah.
it is what it is now.
No, I feel you. I wish I was
Yeah.
fluent in Spanish. My parents and my parents are. My dad's probably more fluent than my mom is, but I don't. I understand it really well. I can understand 99.9%, but I can't speak it like worth a lick. So, but I want to teach my kids
Yeah.
that. I have children, and I want to somehow teach them. But I'll probably have to hire somebody to come in the house and like spend time with them to teach
Yeah.
them. So.
How many kids do you have?
So I have four kids. Funny story. So I was I was married once when I was really young, and that didn't work out. So but we have a daughter, and then my wife also has a daughter, and then we were trying for one more, and then we had twins. So we have a boy and a girl twin. So we have
Oh.
my two oldest daughters are 14 and 12, and then the twins they just turned 4. So 4
Oh,
kids.
okay. Congratulations.
Thank
How
you.
is it raising
Hands are busy.
teenagers?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's interesting. It's tough. So I was raised with boys. I have an older brother and a younger brother. So I never really was around girls at all. And teenage girls are tough, especially with social media now. It adds a whole other element that I think our parents growing up didn't have to deal with. Um, so
Yeah, it
navigating
does.
navigating those waters and social media just adds an element that I don't think we're all prepared for as parents. So it's interesting, but it's fun though. Like they are little moms. They help out with the kids so much. So I think we're blessed in that regard.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. I think the oldest kid in the family almost kind of get that like motherly instinct because you have to look up like your little ones or your siblings. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Now that you're in fitness, or have you been in fitness your entire life? Like, was it kind of a journey, or did you stumble into health and fitness later on?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lifting since I was about 15, 16.
Mm.
So I mainly power lift. That's kind of what I'm known for on social media. I'm a power lifter. I compete. I've gone to nationals and I've won multiple things. But I started powerlifting when I was about 15, 16 through my high school. So in Texas, powerlifting is pretty big, especially in South Texas. Women's powerlifting is actually very big. So my high school had the powerlifting program, and at the time I was like a casual gym goer. I would go to the gym with my mom
Mm.
because at the time my mom was starting her fitness journey because she wanted to lose weight. My mom, I think, was weighing about like 200 pounds after birthing 6 kids. She kind of said, enough is enough. I really want to, be good, feel good, look good. And so she started going to the gym. And so she didn't want to go by herself. So she took me along with her. I think I was like 12 when I first started going to the gym with my mom because she wanted somebody to tag along with her because she was of course shy. It's like the typical like first like the feeling of going to the gym. So I was going with her and we were both brand new. We were both in their loft, but we would do like the cardio, the aerobics class, the Zumba classes, just the very basic like cardio stuff. And I would tag along for pretty much everything. And then that's how I got familiar with the gym. As I got more comfortable and started getting older, I started doing a little bit of weights here and there. Nothing crazy. I was just doing air squats, just doing whatever I saw other people do. And then when I heard my high school had the powerlifting program, I was like, well, I already go to the gym. This is like a great way to kind of get to lift more and get more familiar with just lifting in general. Because at the time I only did cardio and I really wanted to learn other things. And I joined my powerlifting program when I was 2015. I was like 15, and yeah, from there it just I fell in love with it and it took off for me, and I just continued doing it up until today. And so that's how I got into fitness. When I was about 16, I made my Instagram account. I was posting my little lifting videos, and then that's kind of how I got a little bit of attraction. And then now we're here.
That's pretty cool. So it's kind of always been centered around lifting weights. So you weren't like the dainty girl, like cheerleader or volleyball or anything like that.
No. So I like wasn't really interested in that. I just wanted to really like be strong, and so when I first joined, like my first year doing powerlifting, I mean, I was really weak. I just didn't know anything, and I remember my first meet. I had no clue what was going on. And I remember going to a state meet to help out the girls who had made the state that year. I had not, and my coach just kind of said, I'm going to still bring you along so you can kind of see like what is possible if you just train really hard. So he took me along, and I remember just being so like amazed by all these small girls. Like I'm talking, these girls are 114 pounds, like they're lifting 370, 375. And I just stood there and I was like, whoa, like that is so cool. Like that, like they're so badass. Like I wanna do that. So ever since then, I was just like, I'm gonna train really, really, really hard so I could be strong. And these girls still looked very feminine, like, you know, wear makeup on the platform, just very feminine. I mean, these girls weren't like masculine or bulky or anything, but they were hella strong. And so that's what really intrigued me. And so from then I was like, let me train really, really hard, so I could be really, really strong too. And so that's kind of how it took off for me. And for the next 4 years, I was just dedicated to like school and then lifting. That's all I did. I didn't go out. I wasn't interested in doing anything else but being in the gym, and that's it. And so I ended up winning back-to-back state titles and all these crazy things, and you know, in high school. But I remember just being super dedicated, and definitely the girls before me had an influence on me with how feminine and strong they were.
That's pretty cool. So you didn't have to, like, what was the family support like? Because usually, like in the Hispanic culture, like fitness is not like a popular thing in the Hispanic culture. Like it's like kind of gets left on the back burner. And if you're in fitness, your family kind of makes fun of you for it. But it sounds like you didn't have to like deal with that at all.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And yeah, you're right. It happens absolutely in the Hispanic Latino households. Like being on a diet is unheard of in the Hispanic Latino household. Like there's no way you can do that. But I think because my mom had just been overweight, and she had 6 kids, and so she just was not happy, and she lived an unhealthy lifestyle for years. And I think she saw it firsthand how unhealthy it was. I think she just got to her breaking point, I want to say, where she just looked at herself and she said that she wanted better for herself. And so after that, my mom became a health freak. So because of her, I have really good eating habits now. From the moment my mom started doing her health and fitness, when I think I was about 10 or 11, she jumped on a diet. So if mom's on a diet, guess what? Everyone's on a diet in the house. If mom's eating clean, everyone's eating clean. So because of that, we had some really good eating habits, you know. Now, I mean, prior to that, when I was younger, I remember being 7 to 8 or 9, and we were the family that if my mom was craving some birria tacos at 1 a.m., we'd all go. And yeah, I remember being 7 or 8, we would just be eating like tacos at like 1 a.m., water, like these crazy things, because of course you were living an unhealthy lifestyle. But then after that, it completely changed. Like after that, like we just never ate out. We never did fast food. Even now, I don't eat fast food because I'm not used to it. And of course, my mom, we wouldn't ask, you know, our mom's like, Mom, you know, I want McDonald's. She'd be like, I eat comida en la casa. You know, there's food at the house. So even, you know, and then when you add the element that my mom was like living a healthy lifestyle, we could never ask for things like that. So she cooked a lot at home. she cooked like the health, like rice, just like the mole with the chicken, with her Mexican twist. But overall, we had some really good eating habits. So I think with my mom being so focused on her health and fitness journey, that kind of was easier for me. Now, as far as like lifting heavy and being so dedicated to the gym, that was a little bit different because my mom was doing just a bunch of cardio. So she wasn't familiar with the heavy lifting. So I remember she would go to my meets and she would just be like, "You're going to hurt yourself. Like, I'm scared for you." It was the typical, like it's not safe. And so I think that was a little bit hard for her to kind of like be supportive on that end. But because I started lifting heavy weights, she was like, "You know what? I want to do it too. Like, show me how to squat heavy. Show me how to, X, Y, and Z." So then we were going to the gym now, but with more experience. I was a power lifter, but at that point, I had a lot of knowledge. And so then I started training her for powerlifting. And my mom is actually a very strong person now. I mean, now all she does is heavy lift. And This lady, she is 44, and she can squat 315, and she's in the gym by herself. So now I taught her everything I knew, like when I was still back home. And so now all she does is heavy lift. So I think now she kind of understands. And then my dad's just like the sweetest man ever. So he's just supportive of everything. He's just like, just don't hurt yourself, and we're good. Yeah. I know that it is really hard in Hispanic cultures and Latino culture to be on a diet or go to the gym consistently because no one else kind of values that, in the house.
Yeah, no, that's really cool that your mom did that. What was her, like, obviously she wanted to get in shape, but did she learn that from like social media? Like, how did she know to get started? Because
yeah, that's a really good question. I think I'll have to ask her that, but no, I mean, she didn't have social media at all at that point. So I think I truly just think she was truly unhappy with herself. My mom is not a, like, quote unquote, like a bigger person. She's always been very, very petite, but after 6 kids, I mean, she was weighing 200 pounds, and my mom's original weight is like around 130. So my mom's a very short lady. She's like 4'11". So any weight on a shorter person, it looks like a lot. So I think she was just very unhappy with how she looked, and I think that motivated her enough to just be like, no more. And yeah, I mean, she started going to like the aerobic classes when she first started. She was really shy, but now she's everywhere now.
She's in your face.
Now she has social media, yeah. But she didn't have social media before.
What's the deal with Mexican moms being short? What's up with that?
I'm sorry?
I said, what's the deal with Mexican moms being short?
I don't know. It has to be genetic. I mean, both my parents are short, so I'm just by nature, by default, I'm short too. But yeah, it has to be genetic because my mom is a tiny lady.
Yeah, my mom's like 4'10". My dad's side of the family, they're all like 5'10", some of them 6 foot. And I didn't get that. I'm like a solid, I'm a 5'7" on a really good day. Like if it's a hot day and I've been stretching, I'm a solid 5'7". But I got that like Mexican curse where I just like a short dude.
And it's funny because it's almost like Mexican moms get shorter as time goes by. Like they literally get shorter, and I'm like, well, you were not 4'10" like a few years ago. Why are you so short?
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, like I feel like now being taller is like a really a thing. Like now I'd say like 10 years ago, like it wasn't really a thing. Like no one was talking about it. But even my kids are making fun of me. Like my daughters, they're like, "You're just a short dude, Dad." I'm like. I can still beat your ass though. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, like, so.
Yeah. No, I think social media has definitely influenced like the height thing for sure.
Are you one of the girls that the guys have to be above 6 foot?
No, I'm not. I think So I'm a very like short. I'm 5 flat and I weigh about 120. So my frame is pretty small. So my rule of thumb is as long as they're a little bit taller than me and I don't tower up tower over them, I'm fine. Like I'm not that picky. But I mean I'm pretty short. So that's easy for me. I think I would struggle if I was like a tall girl.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I think it would be like, okay, you have to be tall. But I'm short, so I for me, everyone's taller than me. So
My wife can't wear heels because my wife is like 5'5", 5'6", and if she wears heels, then
uh-huh.
she's taller than me. It's a thing.
Oh wow, how does that? Okay, so how does that make you feel?
I don't care about it. I don't really like. It's not.
Uh-huh.
I've always been short, so it's like I don't really notice it until someone else, like
Mm-hmm.
my taller white friends. They're like, "Dude, you're short." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"What do you want me to do about it? I can't fix being short. You know, like I can do other stuff, but you know, I can't fix being short." So, but it's funny. It's a
Yeah,
Mexican. I
I
think.
feel you. I
Mm.
feel you.
So,
Yeah. It had some Mexican genetic.
so what do you? Are you? You're obviously into fitness now, but do you train people? Like, what do you do for a living?
So no, I actually don't train people. So I actually work for like a corporate company.
Mm,
So I have a very like 9 to 5 like type of job.
yeah.
But I don't currently train people right now. And the reason why is because I feel like with my full-time job, it would leave me like a very short window to actually coach people and get back to people in the appropriate time in a timely manner. And I never want to coach and then not provide like the great service. But I'm actually working on an app where you would be able to sign up and kind of see behind the scenes and get coaching by me through the app. So I'm working on that because I think it's long overdue. I've always wanted to train people, but I think always with my job and like my full-time job, it's always been really, really hard. And I've always just worked like a job. I've never really made money off like social media. Like I have a full-time job, I go to work. And then social media is like my side thing that I do. And like, it's always been, I mean, I've been doing it since I was 15, 16. So, when people ask like, why don't you train? Like, why haven't you made it maybe like money off of it? And I'm like, that's a good question. I've always just been really like focused on my actual full-time job, but I think now I really want to start making that switch and just have some passive income just off what I like to do. And I think it's time.
Yeah, no, the possibilities are endless. I mean, you have a good following. You got the right look for it. So I think people, especially the more and more women, I feel like it's becoming a thing where they want to get in shape and they only trust women to for them to get the coaching and tell them how to eat. So are you gonna do like fitness, like meal plans and all that, like the whole thing?
Yeah. So in the app, we're gonna include different types of workouts for different types of goals, whether it's weight loss, strength training, just whatever it is that women want to achieve. And then I kind of also want to make it more focused on heavy lifting. Of course, that's what I'm known for. But of course, if you have other goals, we will tailor to those goals, and then also provide a meal plan to that to help people stay on track with the meal plan and meal plan ideas, prep ideas that usually I will eat. So that's already will be included in that and the whole thing.
That's cool. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
you're like a double-edged sword because the women will trust you, but also you can help a lot of guys like lifting. So with your powerlifting background,
Yeah,
yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, exactly. And so that's one thing that when I was talking to the people who were going to help me create the app, they kind of asked me like, well, what's your demographic? And I was like, well, majority girls, but um, I think the guys can follow the program as well. I mean, I lift pretty heavy and sometimes I be lifting more than these guys. So I think I think guys who are new to powerlifting and just want to get stronger and because there are guys who don't lift heavy and they're new to the gym, and I think that we forget about them sometimes. So I'm like, they can follow the program as well if you want to get stronger. Like getting strong is not just for the guys, it's for the girls too. But if I'm going to put something out, the guys can follow it as well.
Yeah, I found that getting tips from women it's better because I think women have better form, overall, just better technique, and they can
Yeah,
coach a little
yeah, for
better.
sure.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
not most, but there's a lot of like fitness guys that are just kind of like gym bros, and they really don't like break down the technique on how to do stuff. But women, I find, are you familiar with Francesca Fit?
Yes.
Yeah, so I follow her. We had her on the podcast one time, and she's really good. Like, she provides all these like different techniques to build like your like different muscles, like functionally, not just like, you know, strength wise. And that's really good. Like, and you don't really find that from like gym bros. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of guys, I feel, if they're not familiar with powerlifting, like you said, they're kind of just gym bros. They go in there and do whatever they can. And I do believe that girls tend to have a little bit better form, but because I think girls are just more flexible in general. They're able to get lower on a squat without it hurting them.
Yeah.
They're just able to perform these like movements a little bit easier than men tend to do. But yeah, I mean, if any guys do ever want to try out a program, I think they can. I mean, it's they can learn a thing or two.
No, absolutely. So when's the launch date? Do you think you'll have the app ready?
Yeah, so hopefully in the next month or so, you know, we're gonna finalize some things and then start advertising like a few things. But hopefully within the next month, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's exciting. That's big. So your hope is your hope to fully transition into this versus doing like both the full-time job and fitness, or like what's the goal?
Yeah, so I think for now my goal is just to have two streams of income. I mean, my first income with my job is pretty good. I mean, my income is the reason why I don't want to leave, but I think if I don't know my fitness gig takes off and I start making more than what my actual job pays me, then I think that I'll do the full switch. But I think for now, I really want to be able to balance both, and then just have those two forms of income. That would be nice.
That's awesome. You don't have to say where you work, but what do you do for a living?
So I'm a certified training manager. So my work basically is I manage a bunch of people. I manage managers, and I oversee operations and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. That's very nice. Yeah. So I'm an engineer. I work at a chemical company here on the Gulf Coast. And, you know, my wife and I, we have like a side business and we're doing some other stuff. But yeah, the goal is to transition away from the matrix of life, like this 9 to 5 deal. Like,
yeah, it gets hard.
Yeah. I mean, we got it good. Like, we both work from home. Like, the company's great, but it's like, there's like another life. You know what I mean? Like, there's the life that you think that you've been told your entire life that you have to do, like the 9 to 5 job, go to school, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like this other life, like this other thing that you can actually do and work for yourself. And that's kind of like what I want to tap into. So.
Yeah, I think with social media now, people are starting to realize that I think before social media, I think that concept and idea was far-fetched for most people. But I think with social media now, and you can really make money off anything now if you have like a niche and you're good, and you can provide value, you can make money doing pretty much anything. But I will say, because of that, on the other side of the coin, social media has made it seem as like the entrepreneur is like the only way to go. I've met people who work 9 to 5s and who have this, like, the quote unquote the American dream, like right 9 to 5. They have great paying jobs. You know, on the weekends they're with their family, friends, whatever. And those people are very happy with their 9 to 5. They love their job. They love their work. And I think social media has gotten to a point where it's almost like, oh, you work at 9 to 5, like you're not self-employed, like type of thing.
That's interesting.
And so. And I think that because of that, maybe it puts pressure on these people who maybe do love their 9 to 5 and they are very happy where they're at in life. And I think it just depends on everyone, you know. But I've met people who are very happy with what they do. And of course, people like us want to experience different things in life. But some people don't. Some people are very happy, you know, with that. And I think social media has almost made it like almost like they shame you for like having a 9 to 5, like, oh, you're not an entrepreneur, you don't make your own schedule, like couldn't be me, you know, like type of thing. But the reality is that not everyone's built to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone's built to be their own boss and to manage and to do all these crazy things. You know, some people really do love their 9 to 5.
Yeah, yeah. Some people like just having the flexibility of like not actually being responsible for the entire thing. Like it's nice, like oh well, like
Yeah.
if that happens, it happens. It's not mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Another big thing. Yeah.
for sure. How do you manage social media, especially being a female? Like, it's got to be tough. You probably get hit on thousands of times online, and like, it's weird, right? It's like a weird thing that you have to
Yeah.
navigate. Like, how do you manage that? Do you like take breaks from it every now and then, or?
So here's a funny story. So, as far as my social media, so me as who I am as a person, I'm a little bit more reserved and more private than what most people would assume. If you go look at my page, you see me lifting and you see these lifts and me competing in these pictures, but it's very superficial. You don't really you don't really know much besides just that I lift heavy. I'm a girl, and maybe people know that I live in Houston. But I think that's the most you can get from my page. So I'm a very reserved person. I don't like to put myself out there as much, or to put my personal life out there as much, just because I've just always grown up like that. I'm just very private. But and at times I've actually thought about just deleting all social media because I just don't care to show anything to the world. Like I live in the moment. I'm not glued to my phone if I'm out with my family, friends, or just living life. I'm just very present. And so sometimes I have to struggle with, let me record this set. Let me actually bring my camera, because sometimes in my core, I'm like, I don't care to show this to the world. Not because I don't care about like people who follow me, but because like, I just want to go into the gym and like, just work out, just lift. I don't want to be worried about, did I get the right angle? Is my camera about to die? Let me set my tripod, like my tripod up, and all these things. Let me record this set. I just love to go into the gym and just lift, just no distractions, no interruptions, just get it done. And that's how I just like to go about my life. When I do go out with friends, or if I'm out, traveling and stuff like that, I have to make it a point for me to like record, pull out my phone, like do these things, rather than it being the opposite. Some people by nature just want to record everything and post everything, and you see everything in their lives. I'm not so much like that. I have to like make it a point to be like, okay, let me record this, or let me, show people where I'm at, or let me do X, Y, and Z. And so at a certain point, I've thought about not having social media, just because I just want to be to myself. But on the other side of the coin, I do understand that I have potential with social media and that I can make money off of it. And I want to start putting more effort into my social media. So I kind of decided, I'm like, I think like about a year ago, or half a year ago, I kind of decided, I'm like, you know what, let me put in more effort. Because that's when I was thinking of just getting rid of my social medias. And I have a couple of friends who have no social media, and I'm like, and they don't care to have social media either. So I'm like, you know what, I kind of want to do that. But then I also understand, I'm like, I've built a following. Like, let me see, where I can actually take this. So that's why I'm trying to be a little bit more active on social media and stuff like that. But as far as getting hit on and things like that, you'd be surprised. I don't get hit on social media as much as people would think. I think, like, of course, you have the guys who are just always like, you look beautiful, and it's like an ass picture, and I'm like, you cannot see my face, but okay,
That's funny.
But it's like, I think every girl has those guys in their DMs, like every single girl. But I don't really get like creeps or anything like that. I mean, if I do find a creep, my block list is so long. I just block people left and right. Like I'm so quick to block people. If they are like maybe making inappropriate comments or just being creeps, I'll just block. And that's it. Like, I'll never see them again. But yeah, I don't really, nothing aggressively, and then, yeah.
I imagine those waters are really weird, and it's something as a guy that we really don't have to worry about. Even if the guy has you know, a lot of followers. The way that they have to navigate social media is a lot different than what a girl does, and that's something I worry about for my daughters. Is like, oh, like how are they going to react? Like, because I can kind of see it like weighing on them. Like, you're obviously a little older and you grew up probably without social media. But do you find yourself like
Yeah.
comparing yourself to other people, or does it feel draining on you? Do you like?
Yeah, well, for me, I don't really think so. I think it starts with being very confident and secure in who you are as a person and as a woman. Um, I think that's the first thing. I don't know if people are gonna like what I'm about to say, but I think when like I've heard and seen people kind of say they like they had to block or unfollow certain people because they're mentals and they consistently compare themselves to these certain people, or they'll say how social media is like a bad tool or a bad influence because it allows you to compare yourself to all these people, and people are posting the highlights of their life, and that's unhealthy because it's not realistic, and all these things. But I just say, if you're a confident person, it doesn't matter what or who is posting whatever, it does not matter. If you're confident and secure, these like that's not going to face you. And I personally don't struggle with things like that. Like, I don't look at somebody and think, wow, I wish I was them, or wow, they make me feel not confident. No, I really don't struggle with that at all. But I think it just really it's really important with how you grew up, and and if you're confident and if you're secure within yourself, then nothing is really going to face you. There's always going to be somebody prettier, there's always going to be somebody with a better body, there's always going to be somebody else. But if you know who you are, and you know that there's only one of you in the world, then I think you should be good. And I think for women that is very important. I think like you mentioned, the younger girls are growing up with like this expectation on social media and all these crazy things. So I can see how our younger generation might feel a little bit insecure about seeing all these women, but I just think that you just have to be confident in who you are and just understand that there's only one of you and that's it. So
No, that's a good message, and that's something I can let my daughters listen to, because sometimes I find like I can tell when they've been on social media too long, and their attitudes are a little different. They're just moods. Sometimes, like, depending on what happens,
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
we'll remove the phone for a week or two, and they're really mad at us. Like, they hate our guts for like the first 2 days, but then after that, like after that those couple of days
yeah,
pass, they're like a different person. Like, the mood totally
yeah.
changes. They're interacting with the family a little bit more. They're just different. They become different human beings. But then, we give them back the phone, and then like it kind of goes back into the routine. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a struggle for sure. And I'm just curious how you balance it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, luckily I don't really deal with that, but I do have younger sisters too. And my mom doesn't really let them get on social media like that for that very reason. She doesn't want them to, either get influenced or just see other girls doing different things. And I think I just saw, now that we're talking about this, I saw a TikTok literally last night about this. It was like a 12-year-old, and she was doing like a get ready with me, and it was her doing a makeup, and she looked like she was like 22
God.
doing her makeup, and and I had to like go through the comments. I'm like, this girl cannot be 12, there's no way. I'm like, she's at least 21. And yeah, she was 12. But it goes back to what you were saying. I mean, she's on social media, she's doing all these things, and there's nothing bad. I mean, if she wants to, if her parents are okay with that, and if she's happy with, which is what matters. But it just again goes to show that not everyone, like, if I can only imagine if that, I mean, that girl is what, 12, and looking like she's older because she's influenced, because that is what everyone looks like, with the hair and the makeup, and it's super popular now to do get readies with me, and you do all these things. So I can see how it influences the younger girls to do the same thing, right? And I think as parents, you just kind of have to make sure that that's it, like if that's what they're doing, to make sure that it's like a healthy way they're doing it. And maybe the girl is very confident, which is great. But I can see how other younger girls, maybe that affects them when they see like another 12-year-old that looks nothing like them, right? And I can definitely see how that might get a little bit sticky.
For sure. What does your diet look like? So you said you maintain a good diet. You've kind of maintained it since childhood. Do you venture off? Do you have like cheat days? What does it look like on a weekly basis?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'm not like super strict. Like I don't quote unquote restrict myself. But I basically do intuitive eating. So if I'm hungry, I'll eat stuff. But what I mean by like just having really good healthy eating habits is number one, I don't really eat out a lot. I will like I can't remember the last time I had Whataburger. I can't remember the last time I had like pizza. I just don't like to eat out, not because I'm restricting myself, but because I just genuinely don't like how it makes me feel. I didn't grow up eating out and eating at like these fast food restaurants, so something that I just didn't carry that habit into adulthood. And occasionally, if I'm on a crunch, then I will definitely stop by Chick-fil-A, but I'll get the salad. Like I will always opt for the healthier choice wherever I'm at. I'll try my best. So I actually go to Chick-fil-A frequently because I'm always like on a time crunch with like work and training, and I'm like, I just need food in me. But I always get the salad with the grilled nuggets, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's what I always get, and to me it's so good. I love the salad from Chick-fil-A; it's like the best. But I don't get anything else from there. Like I only go for the salads. Yeah, and so that is what I mean by when I say having like healthy eating habits, right? Choosing the healthier option, being conscious of what you're eating, what you're putting into your body. And then when I am just at home, I'm a big salmon eater. I eat a lot of salmon, a lot of rice, a lot of just chicken and rice. And I'm also very basic. Like if I can just have chicken and rice, chicken and salmon, I'm good. Like I don't want anything else like that. Those are my favorite things to eat. So I'm also just a very basic eater. But I'm not, during the weekend is when I'll kind of, if I want some tacos or if I want something, then I'll eat it. But I try to make it like just to make sure that I'm not eating like shit all day.
Right.
Not because I'm restricting myself, but because it makes me feel so shitty. And I'm like, like every time I eat something, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have ate that. I feel so sluggish now. I just don't like how it makes me feel. So I've been craving pizza for the longest time, but I always think, oh my God, if I eat pizza, I'm going to feel so sluggish and then my stomach's going to hurt. And then I'm going to break out because it has dairy, like all these things. Right. And I'm like, never mind. And then it makes me not want it anymore. I'm like, never mind. But I'm a huge snacker. Like that is what, like, if I'm going to eat something or if I'm going to like eat something bad, it would be like hot Cheetos, or it would be like, it would be like I'm a big snacker because that's just like, I think most girls are big snackers that will like nibble at a lot of things all at once. But that is what I had to kind of get under control, because a couple years ago, I kind of started snacking way too much. Like I would go and get a bunch of candy. I'd always have candy in my purse, snacks, chips, like cookies. I always had like snacks, and I wouldn't even have meals. If I had a snack, I'm good. And so I would just snack a lot, and I was like, oh, I really need to like stop. And at the time, this is a couple years ago, I noticed that I was breaking out a lot, and I was like, I wonder what it could be. And I just started like doing some research, and of course, like sugar is linked to breakouts, and I was eating all this candy, and I was like, literally, that's all it took for me to stop snacking that hard. Yeah. I read that and I was like, no. I was like, I am, stopping the consuming candy as much right away. So now, because it's a habit that I've created over the past couple of years, now I don't really crave candy anymore. I'll nibble on it, but I don't really eat it as much anymore. But yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is like the chips, the hot Cheetos. Like that is what I'm like, I need to stay away from that because,
Are you a gorger? Like once the food, like say you did get pizza right now, Are you good at like controlling yourself to like 2 or 3 slices, or do you gorge?
It depends. It depends who I'm with. Like if I am with my family and we're like eating pizza or tacos, I'll just eat everything because you're just in family. You're comfortable. You're just eating. Um, but if I'm by myself, it depends. It depends how hungry I am. Like to be honest, but I mean, I could do both. I can like limit myself because I'm like, okay, if I know that if I eat the whole thing, I'm gonna feel like shit. But there's definitely been times where it's like 7 p.m. and like I'm just like at the house and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna order X, Y, and Z, or I'm gonna order takeout. I'm gonna order this, and that's when I'll eat everything. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to sleep and I'll wake up and I'll feel better tomorrow morning.
I am a gorger.
Yeah.
I can't control myself. Like if I keep the door shut, I'm good. But as soon as I crack the door open, like all bets are off. Like if we go get pizza, it's like, okay, this is gonna be bad, and I'm gonna hurt for 2 days. Like I can't control myself whatsoever. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Some people are like that. Yeah, I can do a little bit of both. It just really depends. Like if I have a reason to control myself, then I will.
What's your like go-to cheat meal? Like if you're going out and you're gonna fuck around and get the best food that you normally don't eat, what is your go-to?
Um, um, that's a good question. I think for me, Mexican food will always do it.
Same.
Like just like some like mean tacos, some like beans, some chips and guac, like the whole thing. I think some flautas. Like I'll order like a small quesadilla, an order of flautas, and then tacos. So I can have all three.
Fuck
Like
yeah.
that's me. Yeah, I think a good like Mexican like meal, like just a bunch of Mexican food is like probably my go-to.
Is there a good place around Houston for that? Like, I don't know of any good Mexican restaurants. Like legit, like traditional,
Yeah.
like good traditional Mexican food.
See, that's the thing. So when I first moved to Houston, I asked like a couple of my acquaintances. I asked them, I was like, "Hey, do you know any really good Mexican spots? I'm craving some like authentic Mexican tacos."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, like go here." And every time I would go, I'm like, "No. Like you don't get it.
Yeah.
Like this isn't authentic Mexican. Like so I haven't really found a place where I'm like, oh, this makes me feel like I'm at home. But so I live around like the Stafford area. So there's this restaurant called it's called Brenda's, and then I think it's called My Tio's like restaurant, and it's like a Mexican restaurant. They're pretty good. I really like the food there, but it definitely doesn't compare to the tacos that I would get back at home in the Valley. It does not compare. The Valley has the best tacos. If you ever go to the Valley,
for sure,
for whatever reason, like literally, there's an amazing taqueria like everywhere you go. Like you don't have to like hunt for one. You just go to a random one, and you'll have the best tacos ever.
Yeah, those hole in the walls are the best. Have you tried Lupita's out of Houston?
No, I have not. No,
it's like one of the best in the area. I think. Like it's not like authentic traditional, but it's pretty close. Like
it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's been in the family. Like the one family has owned it for like generations. They got like the same. I forget. There's a couple of locations now, but I forget where they're at. I live in Angleton, which is like pretty far away from Houston, but it's pretty traditional. It's pretty good. That's not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to try it out for sure.
Check it out. Well, Martha, I know you had an appointment, so we'll keep this short. How can people follow you on social media and follow your journey?
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at MarthaSXOX, and then I'm also on TikTok, but I like barely know how to use TikTok. I'm like trying to learn how to use it. But it's the same thing, Martha as XOX. And yeah, those are my two biggest. I also have Twitter, but I don't really post anything on Twitter fitness related. So Instagram would be the best thing you can use as far as like following my fitness journey.
Cool. Well, I had fun, Martha. And I wish you success with the app launch and all that good stuff. So I had fun talking to you.
Thank you so much. It was great. It's a pleasure speaking with you.
All right. You have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.